Okay, here's our video on histograms. And histograms look like bar graphs. They're almost similar to bar graphs, except in histograms we're looking for these two words. We're going to go over frequency and interval. We want to know the frequency of a number occurring and the intervals between those numbers, and I'll explain that. So again, it looks like a bar graph, and here's an example. There are bars, but we want to find the frequency. So in this case, where it says the students, that would be the frequency. So that's the frequency of students. And here on the bottom we have the intervals. Now in this case, it's the results of an exam. And the intervals are the grades. This would be from 0 to 9, let's say, for example, not 0 to 10. And the other one would be then 10 to 19, and so forth. So the intervals have to be even. In this case, the intervals are 10. Each interval has 10 grades to it. So again, that's 0 to 9. So this one would have to be 10 to 19. What would this one have to be? We'll put it over here. This one would have to be 20 to 29, and so forth. This will be 30 to 39, 40 to 49. What about this one? This one will be 50 to 59. Then we have 60 to 69, we have 70 to 79, we have 80 to 89, and we have 90 to 100. Okay? So again, these are the intervals of the grades. So if, for example, if we look at the one grades between 20 and 29 in green here, it looks like the frequency was over 20. So if we look at it, over 21 students, we'll just say 21 students received grades from 20 to 29. Now we don't know what grade they got exactly. We don't know if they got a 20 or a 29, if they all got 29. We just know that 21 students got grades within this interval. So let's look at another one. Let's look at the grades between 50 and 59. So it's a little over 50. We'll just say 55 students. 55 students got a grade between 50 and 59. So that's the frequency, 55, and the intervals between 50 and 59. Now, do we know if they got a 51 or a 52? No. All we know is 55 students got grades between or from 50 and 59. That's the interval. So on a bar graph, we would know exactly what they got. But on a histogram, we just know the intervals and the frequency of those grades. So let's look at this one. This was from, again, 60 to 69. This was 60 to 69. And the frequency looks like it's almost 40. We'll just say 40. 40 students got grades between 60 and 69. So we have our frequency, the number of students, or whatever the data represents, and the intervals between. Okay, now another word to know is the observations. The observations is the total amount of students that were involved. The observations. And in statistics, observations is represented by the number n. N being the number of observations. So far we have 21 students, we have 55 students, and we have 40 students. So we need to get the rest of them. So let's look at the grades between 0 and 9. It was a little lower than 10, but we'll just say 10 for now. So 10 students received the grade from 0 to 9. And from 10 to 19, we can just say 10 again, just to make it easier. And we just keep adding these numbers together, and the total amount, the sum of all these observations, all the frequencies, would be the number of observations. So see if you can find that. From 30 to 39, we have about 30. From 40 to 49, we have about 35. From 70 to 79, we have about 20. From 80 to 89, we'll have about 10, we'll say. And from 90 to 100, we have about, we'll just say about 7. Because it's a little lower than 10. Well, actually, we'll just say 5. Could be even 2 or 3, but we'll just say that. So if we add all this together, we'll get the number of observations. So what are the number of observations? Okay, so we can look at the observations and we add up all the frequencies and we say that the number of observations is about 236. Right, or 230, you know, depending on how exact the histogram is. So again, let's review. We have intervals. The intervals are on the bottom. The numbers between, and we want all the intervals to be the same. In this case, they each represent a quantity of 10. Between 0 and 9 is 10. Between 10 and 19 is 10, and so forth. This part right here is the frequencies. In this case, it was the number of students. Okay, let's construct our own. Let's make our own histogram. So let's say we want to know, we have these price of cards. The interval is between 50 cents and 99 cents. The frequency of that price is 4. Then we have one that's from $1 to $1.49. The frequency was 7. And so forth. So here is one part. I'll give you one more point. We have $1.50 to $1.99. The frequency is 3, so write that down. And see if you can make a histogram on that. And also, let's do another one over here. Here are the other intervals. So for between $2 and $2.49, frequency was 3. For between $3 and $3.49, the frequency was 2. Between $3.50 and $3.99, the frequency was 1. Okay, so here was the first 3. I want to pause the tape on that to write that down. And here were the next 3. And we want to make just one histogram based on that. So tell me the observations, and with the interval and the frequency, you should be able to make a histogram. So try to do that and pause the tape. So this is what it would look like. Bring that down. We have the price of cards. We have the intervals on the bottom and the frequency. So now let's get the observations. So let's make this clearer here. So between 50 cents, we'll put an arrow here, between 50 cents, 0.5, and 99 cents, we had 4. So that's the frequency of that one. Then here we have $1 to $1.49, so $1 to $1.49, and the interval was 7. Then we have 3 here, 3 here, 2 here, and 1 there. So if we add all this together, we'll have the observations, which we used the letter N for. And what are the total observations? Right, so the total observations would be 20. So we have the observations, we have the frequency of the data, and the intervals. And again, we want to remember that the intervals should all be the same amount, the same quantity of spaces. Right, and you can see here between 251, or from between 250 and 299, there's nothing. So we didn't even make a bar graph. Okay, great job.